Today we are looking at 8 walking boot brands. 5 that are charging you for a reputation their current product does not earn. And 3 where the money actually reaches the boot. Let's start with the ones to avoid. Number 5. Timberland. Timberland sounds right. It is the brand your parents trusted. The original yellow boot, the 6-inch waterproof leather boot launched in 1973, was a genuine piece of footwear engineering. Full-grain leather, waterproof construction, a lug sole that actually gripped. People bought it and kept buying it for decades because the boot earned that loyalty. Here is what happened to it. In 2011, VF Corporation, the same conglomerate that owns the North Face, Vans, Dickies, and Supreme, acquired Timberland for $2 billion. VF Corporation's playbook is brand aggregation. Acquire the name, centralize operations, leverage shared manufacturing infrastructure across the portfolio, and extract margin. Over 98% of Timberland products are now imported. Timberland does not list manufacturing locations on its product pages. That is information any brand confident in its supply chain would volunteer. The current hiking and walking boot lineup retails between $100 and $180. Mid-range models use synthetic materials where the heritage product used full-grain leather throughout. Entry-level outsoles use a proprietary rubber compound rather than Vibram, the independently tested performance standard used by serious footwear manufacturers. Walkers who have put serious daily mileage in Timberland boots report the soles worn smooth within weeks. That is not bad luck. That is the product doing exactly what it was designed to do. Hold together long enough to get through the return window. You are not buying the boot that earned the reputation. You are buying the reputation that a $2 billion acquisition paid for. Verdict. A heritage brand owned by people whose primary outdoor footwear commitment is to the North Face, not the name on your boots. Number 4. Merrell. Merrell was founded in 1981 as a premium hiking boot company. In the 1980s, Merrell boots were handmade in the United States and earned a genuine reputation for quality construction. That reputation is what you are paying for today. The company was acquired by Wolverine Worldwide in 1997. Wolverine's portfolio also includes Hush Puppies, Sperry, Keds, and Saucony. Merrell is the highest revenue brand in the portfolio, which means it receives the most marketing pressure and the most scrutiny around margin. Manufacturing today is in China and Vietnam. Wolverine confirms this, but the confirmation appears under the parent company's FAQ rather than under Merrell's, allowing a question about a subsidiary to be answered without naming the subsidiary. The community record on Merrell quality in the post-Wolverine era is consistent and extensively documented. The Moab series, their best-selling walking and hiking boot, generates thousands of reviews describing midsole delamination, sole separation, and heel wear inside the first 200 miles of use. On technical terrain, wet rock, coastal paths, and steep descents, the grip is a persistent complaint. The Southwest Coast path has exposed more than a few pairs. Merrell's warranty department has repeatedly declined claims by citing a 1-year policy, despite the brand's website advertising a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects. The gap between the warranty they state and the warranty they honor is the most revealing data point about how this company views its product. At $120 to $160 for a mid-range Merrell walking boot, you are paying Wolverine Worldwide for a brand reputation that was built by a company that no longer controls the product. Verdict. The brand earned the trust. The current supply chain does not justify it. Number 3. The North Face. The North Face was acquired by VF Corporation in 2000. VF Corporation's outdoor footwear strategy is shared manufacturing infrastructure. The same factories, the same supply chain relationships, the same cost targets applied across brands in the portfolio. The North Face Hedgehog Fastpack GTX, their mid-range walking boot, retails for $130 to $160. It uses a Gore-Tex membrane, which is a genuine waterproofing standard. The outsole is the North Face's proprietary rubber compound rather than Vibram. The midsole is EVA foam, the baseline cushioning material used across mass-market footwear globally. At that price point, you could buy a Scarpa or a Loa with published material specifications, an independently verified outsole standard, and a construction built for someone who is going to use it in the conditions the North Face's marketing photographs depict. The North Face charges a premium calibrated to its streetwear positioning and its association with expedition mountaineering. The walking boot in your hand at $150 is built to the same cost target as a $90 Columbia. The difference in price funds, a marketing operation. Verdict: Expedition heritage, retail, margin product. Number 2. Salomon. Salomon makes genuinely excellent trail running shoes and some legitimate high-performance boots at the top of their lineup. The X Ultra 4 GTX is a well-regarded boot with a genuine Gore-Tex membrane and a Contagrip TD outsole that performs on technical terrain. The problem is what happens at mid-range and entry-level. Mid-range Salomon walking boots use Climasalomon waterproofing instead of Gore-Tex, and Contagrip MA rubber instead of the more aggressive and durable Contagrip TD used on their premium models. The construction difference is real. The marketing difference is minimal. A buyer looking at a $130 Salomon has no straightforward way of knowing they have purchased a downgraded version of the thing that built the brand's reputation. Salomon is owned by Amer Sports, which also owns Arc'teryx, Wilson, Atomic, and Suunto. In 2019, Amer Sports was acquired by a consortium led by Anta Sports, a Chinese sportswear company, for €5.2 billion. The corporate structure now runs from a Chinese publicly traded company through a Finnish holding company to a French outdoor brand. The manufacturing decisions for Salomon's mid-range line are made several corporate layers away from the trails those boots are marketed for. At $120 to $160 for a mid-range Salomon walking boot, you are paying premium prices for a product using downgraded waterproofing and outsole technology relative to the brand's own flagship, sold under the same identity that Flagship built. Verdict: excellent at the top, a brand identity loan at everything below it. Number 1. Berghaus. Berghaus is the default. It fills the shelves at every outdoor shop in the UK. It is the name that gets reached for when a buyer wants something that looks serious without committing to a specialist. Berghaus was founded in Newcastle in 1966 and built a genuine reputation for British outdoor gear. In 2012, it was acquired by the Pentland Group, the same holding company behind Speedo, Lacoste, Ted Baker, and Alessa. Berghaus now operates as one line item in a diversified consumer brand portfolio. There is a principle that experienced buyers in the outdoor trade have learned: brands that make everything to a mediocre level. Berghaus makes jackets, fleeces, day packs, base layers, and walking boots. A brand that only makes footwear focuses every engineering decision on the boot. When your corporate mandate is to protect a multi-brand portfolio's margin, the boot receives a budget that reflects that mandate. The Berghaus Expeditor line, their flagship walking boot, retails between $80 and $130. It is competent for mixed terrain in moderate conditions. For sustained use on challenging terrain, the consistent feedback from serious walkers is the same. Grip is unreliable on wet grass and wet rock, and the midsole compresses before the upper shows any meaningful wear. By the time the boot looks old, it has already stopped working. Verdict: the default option for a reason that has nothing to do with performance. The 3 checks that separate a boot from a brand. Before we get to the boots worth buying, 3 things to look for before you spend a penny. First, the outsole standard. Vibram is a published, independently tested rubber specification. It is the benchmark that military procurement officers, alpine rescue teams, and mountain guides use to evaluate footwear. A boot that names Vibram on the spec sheet is stating a verifiable fact. A boot that says proprietary rubber compound is not. When a brand will not name the outsole manufacturer, that silence is information. Second, construction method. A resolable boot built with welted construction, where the upper and sole are stitched rather than glued, can be sent to a cobbler when the sole wears out. fitted with a fresh Vibram unit, and returned to service for another 5 years. A cemented boot, where the sole is glued directly to the upper, cannot. Most boots on the high street are cemented. Most boots built by specialist manufacturers are welted. The construction method tells you whether the brand built the boot for a decade or a season. Third, specification disclosure. Any brand confident in its manufacturing tells you where the boot is made, what the outsole is, and what the waterproofing membrane is. If that information requires going to a parent company's frequently asked questions page, or isn't listed at all, that is the brand telling you something about how they view the product. The 3 brands coming up publish their full material specifications because the specifications are the selling point. Number 3. Worth it, Scarpa. The 3 worth buying. Scarpa was founded in 1938 in Asolo, Italy, in the Dolomites. The terrain that walking and mountaineering boots are actually designed for surrounds the factory. The founders were cobblers. The company remains family-owned and manufactures in Italy. Scarpa supplies footwear to professional mountain guides, alpine rescue teams, and special operations units in European military forces. Their boots are used on technical alpine routes where boot failure has consequences that no marketing copy can paper over. The engineering reflects that use case. The Scarpa Kailash Pro GTX, their benchmark midweight walking boot for UK terrain, retails around $160 to $180. It uses a full-grain leather upper, a Gore-Tex Performance Comfort membrane, and a Vibram outsole. Construction is Norwegian welt. The upper, rand, and sole are joined with stitching, meaning the sole can be replaced by a certified cobbler without compromising the upper. Norwegian welt construction requires skilled labor. It cannot be cost-reduced without changing the method entirely. Scarpa uses it because it produces the best result. The loyalty Scarpa generates among people who have used them seriously is not manufactured. Walkers who have owned a pair for 2 decades buy the same boot again when it finally wears out, not out of habit, but because nothing else built the same way at anywhere near the same price exists. That is the definition of a product that justifies its cost. One thing to know, Scarpa tends to run narrow, particularly in Italian sizing. If you have wide feet, try before you buy. If the fit works, this is a boot that will outlast multiple pairs of anything on the first half of this list. Verdict: specialist manufacturers who only make footwear are better at footwear. Scarpa is the proof. Number 2. Worth it, Lowa. Lowa was founded in 1923 in Jetzendorf, Bavaria, by Lorenz Wagner. The company has manufactured boots in the same region for over a century. During the Second World War, Lowa's factory produced boots for German mountain infantry, alpine warfare specialists whose footwear had to function in conditions that would destroy standard military issue. That engineering challenge shaped the technical foundation the brand still builds on. Lowa supplies military boots to the German Armed Forces, the British Ministry of Defence, and law enforcement agencies across Europe. Their Task Force line, designed specifically for military and law enforcement use, publishes full construction specifications for procurement officers who need to verify what they are buying before committing to a contract. That level of transparency is the result of selling to clients who will test the product in the field and come back if it fails. The Lowa Renegade GTX Mid, their benchmark civilian walking boot and one of the most consistently recommended boots among serious UK walkers, retails around $200. It uses a Gore-Tex extended comfort membrane, a Vibram Evo outsole, and Lowa's monowrap frame construction, which transfers sole stability directly into the ankle support system. Every material specification is disclosed on the product page. Lowa is ISO 9001:2008 certified for manufacturing quality, a standard that requires independent annual auditing of production processes. None of the brands on the first half of this list hold that certification. Lowa holds it because they manufacture in a facility subject to third-party verification. For walkers with wider feet, a group consistently failed by Italian and French brands that run narrow, Lowa is the name that appears most often as the solution. The fit range is broader. The last construction accommodates a wider variety of foot shapes, and the comfort out of the box is consistently reported as superior to boots that require extensive breaking in. Verdict: a century of engineering for people whose lives depend on their boots. The Renegade GTX is one of the most recommended walking boots in every serious UK hiking community, and the specification justifies every penny. Number 1. Worth it, Altberg. Altberg is the answer you find when you ask the right people, the ones who have owned 6 pairs of boots from 6 different brands and have strong opinions about all of them. Altberg was founded in Richmond, North Yorkshire. They design and manufacture walking and hiking boots in the UK, using traditional craft construction methods that have largely disappeared from the mainstream outdoor footwear market. When the most experienced UK walkers are asked for a single best recommendation, Altberg appears with a consistency that no marketing budget can manufacture, because Altberg spends almost nothing on marketing. The reputation is entirely the product of the boots. The brand offers 5 different width fittings across the range and carries out custom fitting modifications for customers who visit the workshop in Yorkshire. The Fremington, their flagship multi-terrain walking boot, is built on a single-piece leather upper, which eliminates the seams that are the primary failure point in most walking boots. The Keld variant offers normal width in the heel and extra width in the toe box for anyone who struggles to find a boot that fits at both ends. The construction is resoleable. The boots are built to last a decade with basic maintenance. A regular application of wax is all they ask for. The testimonials from long-term Altberg owners are not the polished marketing language of a brand campaign. They are people who have walked the West Highland Way, the Pennine Way, and the Southwest Coast Path in the same pair, and then walked across the UAE desert in them, and then worn them to do the weekly shop, and found that the only thing that stopped them was misjudging a puddle depth in Mumbai. That range of conditions in a single pair of boots is the product doing what the product promises. One specific detail: Altberg has a waterproofing demonstration on their YouTube channel involving a boot, a fish tank, and a bag of frozen peas. It is the most unhinged and compelling product demonstration in the outdoor footwear industry, and it tells you everything about how this company thinks about what it makes. The Altberg Malum and Fremington models retail between $200 and $240. You are paying for craft construction, domestic manufacturing, a resoleable build, and a company that has been making the same boot for decades because it works. Verdict: the most consistently recommended walking boot among the people who know walking boots best. That is not a coincidence. It is the result of a brand that put every dollar into the boot instead of the billboard. Across all 8 brands, the same pattern repeats. The markup is calibrated to how recognizable the logo is, not to how the boot performs on the 3rd day of a wet fell walk in October. The brands that publish their material specifications, use independently verified outsole standards, and build boots that can be resoled are the ones building for the person who will actually wear them. The ones hiding behind proprietary rubber $dollars and heritage marketing are building for the person who hasn't yet learned the difference. Look at the outsole before you look at the logo. Vibram is a published standard. Everything else is a promise.